All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a really powerful philosophical toolkit from a Spanish thinker named Gustavo Bueno. It's a whole new map of reality, and honestly, it might just change the way you see, well, everything. So let's kick things off with one of the biggest questions there is, one that seems almost childishly simple at first glance. What is the world really made of? For most of us, we kind of operate with this simple two-part map in our heads. On one side, you've got the physical world of stuff, objective things like rocks, planets, the device you're watching this on. And then on the other side, there's our internal world of thoughts, all those private, subjective feelings and ideas. Okay, but here's where that simple little map starts to feel a bit incomplete. It starts to break down when we try to figure out where to put certain things that feel just as real, but don't quite fit in either box. I mean, think about it for a second. Where do you even file the rules of chess? It's not a physical object you can hold, right? But it's not just your private opinion either. The rules exist objectively for every single player. It's the same deal with the laws of physics, or even the value of money. These things are real, they have actual power, but you can't touch them, and they don't just exist inside your head. And this is where Gustavo Bueno comes in. He argued that these things aren't just weird exceptions to the rule. No, they belong to a totally distinct category of reality, what he called a third genre of materiality. And this is the key that unlocks a much, much richer map of our world. So let's dive in. What does this new map actually look like? Well, Bueno's framework gives us three fundamental and crucially interconnected genres of reality. First up, we've got M1. This is the world we all know and, well, bump into. It's the realm of physical, tangible things. It's your desk, it's the planets, it's the energy crackling in a lightning strike. The easiest way to think about it, it's the hardware of reality. Next, there's M2. This is that whole inner world, right? This subjective, psychological stuff. Your personal memories, that feeling of joy you had last week, your dreams, they are absolutely real to you, but they are totally private. This is our mindware. And finally, this brings us back to our puzzle. And here's the solution, M3. This is the world of objective, non-physical structures, things like mathematical theorems, scientific laws, or, the rules of chess. They exist completely independently of any one person's mind, yet they shape our reality. This is the software that runs on the hardware. And this right here is probably the most important part. These three worlds, they are not in separate little boxes. Bueno's big idea, which he had a cool Greek name for, Simplique, is that they're all constantly entangled, all woven together. Think about reading a law book. The physical book itself, that's M1. Your private understanding of what you're reading, that's M2. But the legal system itself, that objective set of rules that exists out in the world, that's M3. It's all happening at once. Reality isn't M1 or M2 or M3. It's the messy, constant interaction of all three. So once you start seeing the world this way, this three-part model becomes this incredibly useful tool for thinking. It helps us spot and steer clear of some really common intellectual traps. For instance, it protects us from a trap called corporeism, or what a lot of people might call vulgar materialism. This is the belief that only the physical world, only M1, is truly real. But that view really struggles to explain things like our own consciousness and totally dismisses the very real power of ideas and social structure. And of course, it also saves us from the complete opposite error, spiritualism or idealism. This is the trap of believing that only the world of the mind and ideas, M2 and M3, is fundamental. This way of thinking can lead you to basically deny the independent reality of the physical world itself. So this brings us to a really key distinction. A lot of philosophies are what you'd call monist. They try to reduce everything down to just one single substance, either just matter or just mind. But Bueno's materialism is pluralistic. It insists that reality is messy and complex, and that you can't just reduce one of these genres to another. It doesn't try to flatten the world, it actually embraces its incredible richness. Okay. So you might be thinking, this is interesting philosophy, but so what? Why does this actually matter? Well, here's the thing.
This map isn't just some abstract idea, it's a practical, hands-on toolkit for thinking.
As Bueno himself kind of put it, the whole point of philosophy isn't to find some single, final answer to everything. It's about building a critical discipline, a set of good tools that lets us navigate the crazy, effective complication of our world without getting totally lost in simplistic dead ends.
What this map really gives us is a framework that actually respects reality in all its fullness. It shows us why knowledge from physics, the M1 stuff, is valid, and why knowledge from psychology, the M2 stuff, is also valid, and why knowledge from math or sociology or the humanities, the M3 stuff, is also valid. It stops any one field from trying to claim it has the only real source of truth. And that brings us to a final thought. Every single action you take, whether it's building a physical object, reflecting on an emotion, or just following the rules of a game, is an act that weaves these three worlds together. Your life is this constant entanglement of M1, M2, and M3. So, the question to leave you with is, which of these worlds are you building right now?